Mr. Joel Paul Jr. here.
Okay. Sorry to make you wait.
No, it's always exciting to come before the Board of County Commissioners, school board, or other group. I'll try to be short. Last thing I'll need someone long-winded. I used to be a former county commissioner in another county, so I totally understand the time and how these meetings go. My name is Joel Paul Jr. I'm with Tri-County Community Council, and we represent Jackson County as your community action agency. Every county in the state has a community action agency. Funding comes through community action agencies that can't come through any other entity. And that's the Community Service Block Grant. Most of it starts federal, comes through DEO. One of the big highlights that we're excited to tell you about, it took 2 years, but we finally got Hurricane Michael money that hit us about August, September. Now we're out here partnering with Chipola Baptist, Inland Recovery Group. We're doing home repair. We're helping buy appliances. We're helping alleviate their list. We also have CARES funding that hit in the summer where we're helping people go back to work. We're helping them pay mortgage, rent, bills they got behind on. This money for the Hurricane Michael is probably approaching $1 million. We don't get it up front. It comes in different draws. The CARES money is several hundred thousand. In addition to that, we have regular CSBG, which traditionally helps people go back to work or helps with family crises. All these grants are income-based and they have to meet poverty guidelines. Another one of the highlights of the Community Service Block Grant is a youth development piece that helps pay Pee Wee football registration, Little League registration, cheerleading. It helps kids buy band instruments. That seems to be one of the bigger crowd pleasers in the community than some of the other things we do. But as a community action agency and by statute, our board consists of 3 elements: an elected official, a business or civic rep, or a representative of the poor. And as far back as I can remember, Arlen Stevens was the first one I was introduced to. Then it was Howard Glass, Edward Crutchfield, and Mr. Pate has served for the last, 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 years. I also noticed on your agenda, it's time for y'all to appoint or reappoint someone to fill that slot. We try to offer it to the county commissioners in our counties. Bay County has elected to send us a school board rep, which has worked out great. Some of the counties where county commissioners are too busy, they send staff. They designate a staff person to send on their behalf. That's always an option too. Let me highlight real quickly the Hurricane Michael funding. It's in areas that we've traditionally never touched before. And when I throw this out, I think you're going to probably have homes or people come to mind. We can do tree removal, roof repair, building repair, mental health counseling. There's things that we've never done before through this funding. And when I talk to Jim Dean, City of Marianna, and some of y'all are through town every day, when we were putting our grant package together, he said, I can probably put you on 50 homes, 50 trees right off the top of that, because that's still a problem. So hopefully, as other people's funding is starting to dry up for Hurricane Michael, we've come in here late. But according to Anita Hollins with she's the unmet need coordinator with the Inland Recovery, we're right on time because we're going to take the load now as other people have had to leave or their funding has gone away. With that, I showed Chairman Peacock.
Hunter, do you have all the information on these grants? Okay. So if someone has a tree on their house, still,
Sure,
you can come in and help?
They have to apply. We have a new office on Penn Avenue across from the Social Security Administration is our new office. They'll go in, apply, fill out the paperwork. If they qualify, then we can start the process to remove the tree. We can also do debris removal in people's yards. That's still big. I mean, I'm riding around these streets every day, and there's 2 problems with this. First of all, getting people to come in, make them aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're using groups like the West Florida Rural Co-op. They just had an article this past month about us. I'm on the Chipola College Board of Trustees, to the college, we're getting the word out, the school board, our other social agencies. And, again, this presentation this morning is very timely because y'all can help us too.
Is there a way they can fill this out online?
There is an online application. There's I hate to say, a burdensome process that the state makes us use. The worst part is they have to physically show us a social security card of everybody in the house and then do proof of income. Some of that sometimes might require coming to the office.
Sure.
But with technology, people taking pictures on their phone, a lot of that can be done over the phone.
Okay, very good.
Hunter, make sure we got all that information because I can think of a couple of places they can use those phones.
What kind of ground operations do you have, boys, trying to get the word out to people that's immobile, that's elderly or up in age?
Well, again, we're using social agencies, like Council on Aging, Chipola Baptist, we're helping clean their list off. We just, through West Florida Co-op, they had an article in their magazine that reached out for several thousand people, through Children and Family and other agencies, and social media, websites and, Facebook and stuff like that.
Can we get that on there?
We always struggle to get to people. There's always someone that said, well, I didn't know y'all did that. That's why it's so important for us to continue to network and talk. Word of mouth, I hate to say, even with social media, that's still one of the strongest ways to.
Now, the radio channels right here give PSAs out. I know that all the radio channels do PSAs, so you can reach out to
That
them
would
and have a
probably be a
template.
good one here too.
Yeah,
And I'm sure the newspapers would carry it.
sure.
Do you have a flyer or anything already made up, a brochure that we could make copies for the commissioners?
Sure. This just happens to be a laminated copy of it in the.
We
So
can
we're
make
over.
copies. Perfect.
He's not. And this is just a sample flyer, more specific.
Yeah, that would be great.
Joel, in addition, the name of your council is a Tri-County Community. I'm one of the new commissioners, so I'm asking a dumb question, but which 3 counties do you represent? Or is it?
We're in
3
7
More than
counties. We started out Holmes, Washington, and Walden, and this was back in Johnson's War on Poverty in 1965. A lot of counties were eligible for Head Start and other programs, but standalone counties couldn't afford to do them. So they formed kind of like a coalition, incorporated, started Tri-County. And a few years ago, Jackson County was an orphan county. Back in up to about 1998, y'all didn't have a community action agency for whatever reason. The governor appointed us this one, Okaloosa and Santa Rosa. And at that point, then y'all were able to get this grant money. So our board elected, because Tri-County has been incorporated, been around for over 50 years. At that point, they said, let's just keep the name. We just have a different logo that shows all 7 counties. And I never want Jackson County or Santa Rosa or Okaloosa commissioners or whoever represents to feel like that they're not part of the name.
Sure.
But again, that was a marketing board decision.
Yeah, sure.
But it's 7 counties.
We're in 7 counties, Santa Rosa, all the way over to Jackson. And we do grants, or different grants in almost every county. We do Head Start in 3 counties. We do transportation in 4. We do the community service block grant in 7. We do LIHEAP in most of the counties except for Jackson. LIHEAP is where we help people pay their power bill or utilities. We're real popular with Gulf Power, your power company here, West Florida, and your gas companies.
Why don't you do Jackson?
The Council on Aging has that grant, and
Oh,
Ms. Burdish and them had it for so long. I mean, we've never been aggressive trying to take something away from
Gotcha.
somebody if they're doing a good job. However, we do go in if the state says, hey, we need you to step in. We've done that on several occasions.
okay.
But that's why.
Any more questions?
Well, I'd like to say, I've been on the board 6 years since I've been on here. Joel does a great job, and that board is a good board. I feel confident in them. Every time I go to meetings, they're well prepared and all, and they do a lot of good things for.
I want to assure y'all, great audit, good staff.
Yes.
Mr. Pate will be a witness. If you had former commissioners, they'd tell you, we seldom have any turmoil, any fussing. It's kind of a fun board, I hope, to serve on, because you don't mind going, because you're not going to feel like you're walking into a fist fight, leaving with a black eye.
We have,
Well,
And I mean that.
we have, well, I sit on it, Mr. Crutchfield does again. I mean, he was there before
He
me.
represents the low income. And then Anita Holland,
Yeah.
she is the unmet needs coordinator with Inland Long-Term Recovery. She's our newest board member from over here.
So each county has 3 members.
Yeah, I've got a board, right now there's about 18 sitting. We've got a couple vacancies. But, we don't meet every month. It's about 6 times a year. And, recently, because of COVID, we're doing phone meetings. But we may continue to do that until we're given, direction to do different. Our next meeting would be in January and it would just be a call in.
I got a gentleman that's, that Major Arnold in the back there, the sheriff's officer, just asked, reminded me of, I have one that we have his information. Now, who would I forward that information to?
For, the needs to,
Absolutely.
I can give you a local number.
Yeah,
Or we can send them to
Yeah, what-
2944 Penn Avenue, Suite H.
to get it to
2944
Mhm.
Penn Avenue,
Okay.
Suite H. It's
Suite
directly.
H is in hotel? Okay.
Well, yeah, and it's just
It's
straight
that-
across the street
Yeah,
from.
Plaza Del Rio.
Yeah.
Plaza Del Rio.
Yeah, and it's right across the
Okay.
street from the Social Security building.
Okay, all right, very
It's
good.
a brand new office.
I'm sure Hunter will provide us all that
Yeah,
information.
yeah, all right.
And I'll give them an 800 number. It's a little easy for people. They call our 800 number and we can send them where they need.
We've got y'all a copy.
All right.
too.
Well,
Because there might be a need to be a delegate at some point, because some of them, if they're aging and elderly, they might not, I mean, even driving to Marion may, scare, but we can send someone,
And
we can make that, we can make it work.
Our person that we've just hired is supposed to even do home visits. and do
That would be a lot,
With
especially
a
if you got
a small
aging.
scanner, I mean, we're trying to really do a little bit better on the intake, so.
Well, I'm sorry you had to wait.
No, I totally understand.
Hopefully you learned something about something that's going to be taking place here in Jackson County, and maybe you can help us with
Y'all are
it.
busy.
We'll ask you for money.
There you go. I will hang around to see who your appointment is.
Well-
Chairman.
He's going to win by default.
Who?
Sometimes the
I don't know.
first
We
person
fixing to
goes
look
at this
backwards.
list.
Moving along, Chad Taylor.
Here for us.
Good morning. My name's Chad Taylor. I live over on 4th Street here in Marietta, and I'm the chair of your Riparian County Stakeholder Coalition that's been working these issues on the Apalachicola for the 6 riparian counties along the Apalachicola River since 2007 and funded since 2012. And I have 2 purposes here today, and we'll be really brief, because I know you've had a long day. I wanted to introduce you to our new coordinator who actually operates the coalition for the counties now. Ken Jones is an engineer. He lives in Tallahassee. Has a long and varied career with the state of Florida at the Water Management District with Atkins as an engineer. He can be of service to you in many ways. We have a purpose here today, and it is to get your favorable consideration of a proposed amicus brief to join in a lawsuit against the United States Army Corps of Engineers that's been going on, to make sure they understand our message is that the Apalachicola River and Bay needs adequate flows to maintain the oyster harvest and a whole bunch of other stuff. Most of you know right now the bay is closed to wild oyster harvesting. A lot of that has to do with the drought, but a lot of it has to do with how the Corps operates in time of drought, what water they let across the Woodruff Dam. So that amicus brief will be produced. What we've asked you to do today, so we don't go around all 6 counties again, is once it's produced, give it to your county attorney, and upon her approval, authorize the RCSC, which has 12 appointed members from the counties. Eric and I are the 2 from Jackson County, to go ahead and sign that amicus brief and send it to the.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
So that would be our request today, and Ken here knows this better than I do, so if you have any questions of Ken, and we can come back another time, this is, but
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this request. Commissioner Pate was the second. Commissioner Hill was the motion. Are there any more discussions?
Just real quickly, Chad, as I understand it, this amicus brief basically updates the way that the Corps operates the dam, which affects the volume of flow from Lake Seminole into the river, into the big river.
that's probably close enough, but it impacts their water control manual, which is how they turn the valves on all these dams that controls the flow going down to the river. And so this latest revision is inadequate in the sense that it actually gives us less flow in times of drought, which is really critical. I mean, most of the time you got, big flood going on over there. That's not a big issue from a standpoint of bay health and river health. But for times of drought, that's what this goes to at its heart. But it's bigger than that, and she'll review the amicus brief, and we'll make sure y'all get copies of it. But the RCSC is the entity you have appointed to vote on your behalf. So that would prevent us from having to come back and do this again. But we would want the approval by the attorney from each county. We have it from Franklin and Calhoun, Liberty's tomorrow night. Ward McDaniel's handling it in Gulf, and many of you probably know Charles McClellan in Gaston. But they're Robert Presnell, who's used to be their county manager, is the representative they appointed to the RCSC. So this will go through the motions, and we hope that by the middle end of January, this brief will be in the court.
You fully anticipate all 6 counties signing on?
Yeah, the only thing I would say, if we don't meet a deadline by the time it's necessary, it'd be perfectly adequate for whatever counties that are willing to submit the brief. But we want to make, that's what the RCSC is all about, is these 6 counties working these river issues, because they're complex. And Ken knows a lot of details about this. So if you ever need to call him, want any information about anybody, whether it's the court or Oyster Harvest, all that, just give us a call.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Any more questions? All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all very
Thank
much.
y'all.
Thank you, Chad.
Happy holidays and a Merry
Sorry-
Christmas. I'm sure
sorry to
I'm
keep you
missing
waiting.
all around. No, we're good. We're glad to have you. Thank you.
Okay. Dan, it's time for you to give us an update.
Wow, that was pretty good timing. I actually just kind of guessed to come in here.
I wish
Um,
you got lucky.
So I'm Dan Knetz. For those of you guys that don't know me, welcome. Thank you for taking this report today. So I represent GP Strategies and the county's assistance with getting grant funding through specific to Hurricane Michael, 4177, and the new disaster Sally. So you can expect a monthly report from us, giving a project status update, a round summary of finances as well, according to the PA program, and then also just any other inquiries for project-related items to do with FEMA projects. So first off, I'd like to start out with one of the requests that came from Hunter and staff as well. And that's just to kind of get an idea of the obligated funds and how they correlate with the funds that are being put through for requests for reimbursement. So we are open to any feedback that you guys have from that data. But what that represents is kind of giving a visual aspect to where the funds are at in the process. There's a lot of times you'll see estimated amounts that we have for projects. We were required to give an estimate for a lot of the construction projects that come up. And that gives us a baseline to equate, what the county is going to be responsible for, what the certain fees are for, just everything to do with the project. So this actually gives a visual representation of once the project has been obligated, what that amount looks like, and then where we're at with the reimbursement status. Do you guys have any initial questions on this report? Okay, and if we're just an email away as well, so if you guys do come up with something that you want specific information on, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone from our team.
Signs, what's the status on our signs for the Hurricane Michael?
Yes, sir. We are still awaiting feedback from FEMA on their review process. we have asked them to the point to where they have asked us to stop asking. So
Don't stop.
we're not.
Do they understand some, I mean, we got in a situation on the fire rescue side here, less than 2 weeks ago that they can't find the name of the roads because the road sign's gone. So, I mean, they understand there's liability still attached to that from us, as many of the Penn Avenue issue we've had years ago. I mean, I'm sure they're aware of that, but that needs to be resubmitted to them to know, because again, when an ambulance can't get to someone that's in that kind of condition sometimes, and that's a liability on us, especially if it's a known issue.
Do we need to reach out to our congressmen and senators to help us get that bumped in through? I mean, it is it's bad.
We are open to any help that can be leveraged, because that is of most importance,
Senator
safety.
Scott said, if we don't ask, he don't know. Yeah, and
Let's
we
call
probably need to do that.
I think we need to.
And the
call
roads.
Yes,
Roads,
The
exactly.
road,
Yeah.
well, the Hurricane Michael roads, we got issues with everything else too, but.
What, I want to know, when did we get our extension on 4177?
So I've got an update for that as well. It had to go through 2 approvals, one with the state and one with FEMA, because it was a 4-year mark that it hit at the end of December. So that 4-year mark invokes FEMA for any sort of extension approval. The update from last meeting was it has made it through the state approval for the extension. Now we are awaiting FEMA's approval for that extension, because it invoked them after the 4-year period.
What 4-year period are you speaking of? I mean, that disaster was in spring of 14. We're 6 years past that mark, 6.5 years past that mark.
I would have to, the threshold for the timeline,
Oh, the
I'll
free-
have to
Okay,
check
that's fine.
on the exact dates as far as the
Well,
duration.
We're running out of time.
I
Maybe
do
we-
know it was December, yes,
Maybe
sir.
we get a list of the senator and the congressman of the things we need for him to check, all of them. Seriously.
I'm ready. I'm
Well,
tired
if
of
y'all want to go ahead and direct the chairman to sign a letter, we can draft one.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Yes.
it. Is that a motion?
Well, just make it a consent, well, you can do a motion. Do you need a motion or consensus?
I think if the chairman's gonna sign a motion would be
So,
best.
so, well, I make a motion that we, prepare a letter to send to, Congressman Dunn and Senator, Scott and Rubio. And,
Second.
ask for help to get these things moved along.
Okay,
I say,
we have a motion and a second to prepare a letter to our legislative delegation. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed likewise, carries 5-0.
And I would just ask, Dan, for you to work with Hunter to start drafting that. Y'all know exactly what the needs are, and then we'll get Commissioner Peacock to sign.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, sometimes they can just ask the question and it bump it on through if it's sitting there.
It's crazy, 6.5 years later, we're still
Oh, yeah.
getting. And speaking of that, Dan, I've got 2 lists that's causing a problem now with the contractors. At the 4177 list, one of them has 43 roads on them. So one of them has somewhere around 76. And there's confusion. 76 was approved. The 43 is what's been floating around, where it's getting contractors to reposition equipment, because one road's on one list and one road's on another. And I mean, they're literally having to move equipment across halfway around the county when there's a road that they're already on, but can't get some clarification on. So if y'all give me a true 4177 list to me, and so I'll know
You're talking about current work that's being
current
performed.
work that's approved by FEMA for the line.
Let me ask
I
a
can do that.
question,
yes, I,
just for my own clarification. This disaster recovery program, you've mentioned 6 years since the
4177.
It's
Yeah,
a flood in 2014.
Spring of 14 that dumped that
They
way.
got 28 inches in 24 hours before I got on the board.
So that's what
That
some
was
of this
before we
is
got on
relating
there,
to?
too.
Yeah, we
we
still
did.
have it. I mean, it was running delayed anyway, and then you had Hurricane Michael that kicked in. Of course, then you had Corona that hit, then you had Sally hit, so it's pushing off to the point that now that we're 6.5 years past that juncture, and it's becoming an issue now that when we have another disaster, it's causing us problems, because then they freeze everything and say, now we need to reevaluate what you've done and what you need done again, and make sure ain't no double dipping or, cross contamination, whatever. So anyway, it's caused us a lot of headache for years.
We've been dealing with it since we've been on. It happened right before we got on.
6 months.
Yes. Yeah, Yeah, good point. And that is something that we had to go through with Sally,
Yeah, absolutely.
with 4177, doing that comparison, so we're not adding quantities or
Right.
counting it twice.
Well, I think it would have been a better measurement of that would have been, they knew what it was done before Sally hit,
Mhm.
cut the check. Let us do the roads, and then if there's any other damage to those, then that's fine, those roads were already approved. But I think when you're trying to contaminate those, they're having to go out there and kind of figure out what DNA goes on what road and whatnot, and this causes problems. Again, we got contractors right now that's confused on what roads to do, and they got equipment sitting right beside the road, so,
Yes, sir. The list that I did send out,
yeah,
that had the roads, listed in that Excel spreadsheet,
sure.
that should be accurate, but I can go back and check just to make sure there's
Do
not
you
any.
remember about how many?
Off the cuff, I would have to
Okay, that's
say, I couldn't give you a
Okay,
definitive.
that's fine. Just send me that copy.
I can, yes,
Thank
sir.
Okay, anything else for Dan? You finished?
All other projects are going pretty well and tracking. Concession building and PPDR is tracking to complete by the end of the year.
Okay,
I've got a lot of questions, but I'm certainly not going to take the time of the board. I'll get with Will Ann and maybe Dan later to try to get up to speed on all of this. It's a lot of information.
there's a lot of, I mean, we got 4177, we got Michael, and we got Sally. That's floating out there, and we seem to be able to get any resolution.
Can't finish one.
Yeah,
We will, set up a time for Commissioner McKinney and Donna Fro to meet with GP,
I think it'd be a good idea.
sort of like we're
Try to
doing.
get up to speed
Yeah.
is where we are, where we're trying to get to.
That's right. Perfect. Thanks, y'all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Okay, we're going back to item 25, which is on page 169. Ms. Carlin?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This first item is requesting approval to extend the position of the OPS IT technician for an additional 1040 or half a year hours at a total impact of $18,114 to be funded with CARES funding that we will receive back for our public safety
So moved.
position.
Second.
You got a motion by Commissioner Pate, second by Commissioner Hill. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise. Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Commissioners. We really appreciate that.
Next is you also, Ms. Carlin.
So this item is based on the November 15th, 2020 State Report, Issue 22, regarding COVID-19, an update which advised that Florida is in a new red zone for cases, seeing drastic increase in both new cases and positivity rate. Additionally, adding that 85% of all counties in Florida have moderate or high levels of community transmission. Based on this review and checking what other counties are doing, there is a consistent focus on ensuring the safety of the county office staff and the county's constituents by being more restrained, especially through the holiday season. We would like the board to consider a reduction to 50% of the current max capacity, or no more than 50 people in total, in county-owned facilities through January 12th, 2021 for inside events.
Is this policy already in place and we're just extending it, or is this,
We are following CDC guidelines.
this is
And the
new?
state.
Right,
State.
CDC guidelines advise that for rental facilities, that they could go back to normal practice, which would be allowing max capacity.
And the governor has done that too.
Correct.
I mean, it's open.
I'll offer a motion to,
Open
More cautionary.
50%.
No, it's open, wide open.
Yeah.
State of Florida is.
Then why we restricted it then?
In
I don't know.
particular,
That's
just
brought
as
to
an
us.
example, at our Ag Extension office, we had 2 events
Oh, yeah.
that were booked that were, it could be in excess of 250 people in a county-owned facility, for holiday and birthday events in this particular month, so.
So while it's gonna be half of all of them, is there any of our smaller facilities that's gonna be almost non-existent on rental then if we cut it in half? I mean, if we got, I don't know, what Citizen Lodge?
Citizens Lodge probably would be
And the
cut
Lust
to
House.
25, small as it is.
for 100 people, so half of that would be 50, so 50 or less would be within our guidelines
So,
parameters.
so what facilities does this impact?
All county owned.
It will be all rental, which will be
So-
Rust House, Citizens Lodge, Ag Center on Highway 90, Ag Complex on Penn, and there's another, Jesse Citizens Lodge. Cypher, well, that was not open anywhere right now. 5 or 6 facilities.
Well, my question, go ahead,
Chairman.
Michelle.
I can't give you any assurances that the county won't see any liability in the future for permitting an event that is later determined to be a super spreader event. I mean, an event with 250 people right now, it's just from a risk management standpoint, I would strongly encourage you not to
Is the,
allow that on county facilities.
is the threshold for that exposure, illegal exposure, either complying with the CDC guidelines or not complying? Is that, I mean, what happens if we adopt this and it still ends up being an event where the virus is spread?
We don't know. I mean, from a legal standpoint, none of this has been litigated yet. We haven't seen anyone bring a lawsuit against a government entity, for,
Isn't there some protective measures that we have a governor that's,
well, you have your sovereign immunity caps, of
Sure.
course, if you get sued. You probably have insurance coverage, from fact, subject to your deductible if someone brought, a negligence action against the county for allowing an event to take place and you had cases linked to that event. My other recommendation is if you're not going to take any action on the front side of things to restrict the number of people in a facility, put up signage on all of your doors, put up signage in the facility that says you're entering at your own risk.
sure.
You understand this virus exists. We're not doing anything to protect you. I mean, big, bold letters.
Protecting
Yeah,
yourself. is
well, I think
incumbent
that should
upon
be a
you.
given to start with. I mean, it's like swimming. At one of our recreation facilities with water. I mean, you're taking a risk by getting there. I mean, at some point, I mean.
So we've actually already put up that signage and we need to evaluate, and make sure it's adequate. But just so y'all know, the history on this request was around the time, it was in between meetings. We got notified there were 2 events, 250 plus. So we met with the chairman because we didn't want to call y'all together just to address that. More from just we're getting briefings at every meeting that the COVID numbers are rising. So we wanted to be sure we were doing what we should do in the event that we were, claimed that we knew better and that sort of thing. And so we contacted Michelle, but it was to get us to today to get board direction on what y'all would like us to do for the next month.
Well, if you get a place that we even drop it to 50% and then they get sick or we're not still
Still
capable of that
liable.
number, you get compensatory at that level.
Well, there's always going to be a risk anytime the public can access any of your facilities, period. What we're looking at right now is, from a legal standpoint, trying to mitigate that risk by taking some kind of action that would, under the information that we have as of today, and of course, this stuff changes constantly, but as of today, it's my strong recommendation that you do limit capacity in your facilities. You don't have to shut them down entirely, but limit capacity.
What's the capacity at the biggest facility we have?
Ag Complex was 300.
300.
So why don't we look at maybe 0.75%? I would feel better if we want to do something, then we do it in a marginal thing at that. But at the same time, I mean, if you're doing.
What does it matter if you got 300 people
Well,
and one's
well, that's
got
my-
it
that's my
versus
original-
200? I guess 100 people, but they're not all going to get it. So
Well,
I don't-
that's
I
my
don't
point
understand
originally, just it doesn't matter if we get called in here. I mean, we're mediating like some, but I
Well,
mean,
if you got, even if you have 2 people and one's got it and the other one gets it, how do you prove you got it from Clint
I
Pate?
think the idea, just in this example, would
Proactive.
be for the Ag Extension Office specifically, with a capacity at 200, if you limit that to 50, there is adequate spacing for them to socially distance appropriately. Whereas if you did 3/4, you would still be in very tight quarters with a lot of people in a small space. So I just think, just for clarification, that's kind of the mindset of where we went with that.
Well, we did reach
I
out to
thought
other
the signs
counties
are fine.
also, so we didn't make that number up. We got some idea of what others are doing.
I just know that typically when I've been at events, regardless of the size of space, people tend to get together
That's true, too.
regardless. I mean, if you put 10 people in a room like this, you got 10 people that are gonna be close together. If you put 10 people in a space twice as big, those 10 people are,
Yeah,
it's just human nature.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we deny the request.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second to deny this request. Any more discussion? Hill seconded. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed?
So can we?
4-1.
Can we put signs, just make sure, Michelle, with the signage they got out, if there's any difference in your verbiage that you think would be better than going on, I don't care if you put it in bold red and make them sign, hey, can you sign a waiver?
We actually added that into our contracts, an
Yeah.
addendum that says.
No, I mean on an individual basis, I mean,
Well, you're not gonna get 250 people out of family reunion to sign a waiver,
So
but the
ma-
person renting it has
Right,
to sign it.
and make them clear that they had to notify them. I think, Michelle, if y'all take some pictures, whoever it be in staff that would take pictures of the signs we have, you need to make them bigger and bolder. I mean, let them know that the risk analysis is with them. I mean, we can't control them when they're swimming, we can't control them when they're meeting, so.
Kind of seems like the person who rents is taking on, we're worried about our liability, but the person who rents the event is gonna allow that many people to a rented event for
That's the
them.
risk analysis for
Looks
them.
like so if they sign a thing that,
Can they get the insurance on that? We require insurance. I know we
Lloyd's
require
of London,
deposit
probably.
for the damage for our facilities. Can we require insurance of that?
You can, well, I don't know that you can get specific insurance to cover a COVID-19 claim. I don't know that that exists yet, but you can get event insurance, which.
Maybe we should require that then during this time. It just gives us an extra blanket to protect the citizens of that. If they want to go and have it, let them have it, but have them to where they make it to where, we require them to have insurance. We require them to read the signage, sign a release of waiver. And all the steps we've taken is proactive. If they don't want to have it, maybe they'll think, but if they do want to have it, then we've taken those protective measures.
I would recommend event insurance if the event is going to be open to the public, but if it's a private party, like a birthday party, I don't know that you need event
Do you
insurance
need that
for
in a
that.
motion?
Well,
Do we require that now? Because I mean, during these times, I think we don't have to, I mean, I don't know how long this is gonna take, I mean, obviously,
Could be forever.
hope every vaccination works and everybody's good next week, but precautionarily, do we need to make that happen during these times?
I mean, I always recommend event insurance.
So what public event would we have at a county-owned building that wouldn't be us?
If you
like
had,
you just,
The church-
we approved one
church
today.
event?
you had a church put
You
on an
mean a
event,
Private event that's open to anyone, but you don't mean public like the Board of
right, a
County.
nonprofit that wants to do, is having some kind of
Yeah.
food
Okay.
away or.
I make a motion, we require them to have, event insurance on it.
Is there a second? We have a motion to require, event insurance for any
That was your recommendation, right?
occurring in one of our facilities. We have a second from Commissioner McKinney. Any discussion?
That's a good idea anyway, just in the event that there's a trip and
it
fall,
don't cost that
or
much.
it's very, very cheap to get event
You just
insurance.
call one of them.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign, 5-0. Hill, McKinney. Okay, next is
Me.
Garland.
All right, this is my last item. This item is presented for recommendation to the board to adopt the attached plan that would additionally allow constitutional offices to participate in the annual leave buyback program for fiscal year 1920. On November 9th, 2020, the board adopted a plan outlined to allow the JBOCC to buy back annual leave balances that in the past would have been lost for staff exceeding the maximum of 280 hours in an annual year. A big impact on high leave balances for this fiscal year had to do with COVID-19, which caused rampant closures, cancellation, and restrictions worldwide, so many employees were unable to use earned leave. The total request, if paid at maximum eligibility, is $165,540 for the 5 constitutional offices. This funding would again use CARES recoupment for public safety positions.
So it'll be CARES money.
One time.
Okay, go
Right,
ahead.
so the 165,540 is captured up into what date? Is that, when is that towards the end, all the way to December 31st? What that number represents to when?
Well, it would represent what they would be eligible for, that would be paid out hopefully in the month of
To
December.
what point?
To what point though? Because CARES Act drops off the
December 30th.
Well, this would be money, we will use the money that we're going to recoup from the public safety position, so this would be funds that we've actually already received, that we've gotten, the 25% that we just got, $1.4 million.
You're designating part of the
So
money that
we
you
would
already
just,
have.
Correct.
Okay, and that's not, and once it comes back to us and we reimburse ourselves for the thing, then we can pay that without the strings, okay?
What is that cutoff?
I don't understand that question.
I think it's through the end of the
Yeah,
year.
end of the
Yeah.
year, so
Okay.
March 1st to December
Okay.
31st, is that,
Correct,
this
is what we're
number
getting
fall?
reimbursed for.
I mean-
So if somebody else takes off they need to take off and get reimbursed till the end of the year, that's calculated to the end of this fiscal year.
Well, at this point, the calculation is based on having an 80-hour balance
Okay.
before December 31st.
All right, so y'all going off the.
Okay.
Well,
I got you off the-
Like for our office, when she did it, we didn't go to our employees, we just looked at everybody who was eligible. Because I didn't want to say,
I know.
I didn't want to get hopes up until you guys approved it, so I said everybody, not everybody's going to take it.
That's right.
This is
Yeah.
the
I
maximum
understand.
amount.
That's a max. Okay, so you went to worst case scenario. Okay, very good.
Well,
Okay.
and
I
if
just
we-
want to make sure we had the numbers.
And I'm sure everybody.
So on the annual leave buyback y'all approved for the board, y'all approved up to 158,000. Well, we have those final numbers and it's only gonna cost 64,000.
Okay, so those numbers are just worst case.
It
Okay.
that's
depends
who
on the
signed up.
employees.
So that's got all of our constitutionals incorporated into that.
Was that
Yes.
care money for the
Yeah.
board?
It was the same
Everything's
situation
dealing
as
with
this.
care money, but,
Right.
okay,
That's right.
okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Donifro. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. 5-0, Clay.
Again, thank you a lot for that, Commissioners.
Okay. Next, Ms. Willan.
Yes, this is board direction on fiscal year 21-22 legislative budget requests. And my memo that I have in front of me is slightly different from what you have in the packet. I was able to meet with our lobbyist, Alan Susky, who I also hope to be able to introduce to the new commissioners soon. And so after sort of brainstorming with him and staff and going through what our options are, there's a couple of factors we're considering. One, we want to be sure that we are very sensitive to the state of the budget due to COVID-19, but also not being absent to the table and maybe implying we don't have any needs. So after talking with him, going over sort of what's been on our list of priorities, I'm proposing that the board consider authorizing staff to work with the lobbyists to put in a legislative budget request for one, the design and engineering services for the paving of Mashburn Road past Project Blue Sky. So there's about a little over a mile that would be left to New Hope Road, as many of you know, to pursue the design and engineering services. I don't have a dollar amount on that, but we would work to get that dollar amount. And then also an administration building design plans. And so as all of you know, we've had it in our sites and we're now aggressively working through funding options for a new administration building. And so we would like to work to ask for a legislative budget request for that. But for both of these requests, we would like board authorization for us to propose to match up to 50% of whatever that dollar figure ends up being from the board. So Alan's going to work to keep our match as low as possible, but we just need a threshold of what we can offer to match. And so for the administration building, that would come from the money you've been escrowing for that. For the Mashburn Road, I'm sure there is funding in Road and Bridge that could be spent to match that money. And then also, the chairman added that for consideration to do a broadband specific project for Mashburn Road to be extended for that industrial area. So we'll stop there. Those are just the 3 monetary requests and get feedback. And this is your request. So we want to ask from the legislator what the board, wants us to ask for.
Okay, any comments?
Mashburn Road, the part we're talking about is gonna be important to Endeavor property.
The industrial site.
Yeah, the industrial site, because they don't have to come out and get on Penn Avenue, they can go out and get on New Hope and go over the interstate right there. So that's important. The admin design, I think it'd be good to have, because we have a one-shot opportunity to be out at the Endeavor property and get all our stuff together where you can do everything at once. And then, of course, the broadband for Mashburn. I think these 3 are good ones.
So on the Mashburn Road paving project, this would be paving from Penn Avenue or?
No.
No.
The curve, at 2,300 feet, I think.
Are you familiar where Blue Sky project is going?
All right, from that point to New Hope.
West.
Oh, to New Hope.
Because it's
Yeah.
already gonna be funded
But for
to,
that,
But this would just be the design of that,
Right.
mostly because trying to be reasonable in what we ask for. And
but we're not asking for a whole lot. Maybe we can get,
yeah.
I mean.
Budget's going to be tight this year,
Yes.
from what I'm hearing. So,
well, Alan says that it is possible they will not hear any requests without a 50% match. That's why we need that option if they end up saying we
okay.
have to have.
Any more comments?
Before y'all take any action on that, we'll just talk about the policy. So we also want to work with Alan to make it known that Jackson County's policy or a supportive rural broadband initiative. And so he had a conversation with the speaker this morning, and they had a conversation about broadband and the importance in Jackson County. So that was very positive. And then also we would like the board to support or make a statement that you all support the continuation of funding for the State Welcome Center on Highway 231. I would even like the board to authorize that we would be willing to run the Welcome Center if the state provided the funding.
Yeah, what department would that fall under? I know that's.
TDC is what I think she stepped in for that before
Sure.
and it worked great.
So what, do we know what the funding amount is for that when the state had it?
It was less than $300,000, and we could certainly fund it for much less than that
Does that
because
include other
salaries
people?
were so high.
All right, so who would then be in charge of the building or repairs, maintenance?
Well, we would have to work that out.
Okay.
That would be a
I
negotiation.
mean, it's good. I think it says just shy of 400,000 a year comes through that facility. Is that right?
I don't remember the number.
I think
but
it was
a
somewhere
lot.
around a large number. So I think it was a.
It needs to be open.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
Well, no, we got a collaboration with 10 counties when they said they would shut it down. Did they also want to participate in that or?
I haven't reached back out, but I could definitely have Christy do some research on that.
I
Just
mean, I think
more-
everybody should have a little bit of skin in that game. I mean, I don't mind, I'll be honest, if the state funds it, then we can facilitate that without any
Right.
cost to us. But if there's a lack of funding on the state side, maybe we can do the margins again and get the other 10 counties to step in.
Well, I don't fully know the dynamic with Visit Florida,
They
but the
can,
thought
sure.
was if they're not going to send the money through Visit Florida, but they were willing to send it through us in some capacity or contract with us, we could take that on. Did you have a question?
Okay.
Sure.
Good. Do you need a motion for all of it? So I think.
Yeah, unless you want to add
through?
something or delete something.
Just those 3 or what you want to add? How many others you want to add?
So there's just 3 monetary requests and then just the 2 policy issues, unless y'all want me to add or delete anything.
Do we know what those totals of 50% would be? Do we have numbers enough to know that, do we have
so-
room for a little bit more is what I'm saying to meet that 50%?
I think
Threshold?
50% is a really good amount. So for the admin building and speaking with Commissioner Donifro, I think we could comfortably say that the 50% would be between 350 and 400,000. And then for the design, we know Poozer Road's design was 180,000. So I think we could use that as an estimate on the design of Mashburn. So let's say 200,000.
What's the distance? Do we ever get a calculation? I know we spoke about that at last board meeting of the
It's a
distance.
little over a mile and
Yeah, I have-
mile and a quarter, something like that,
From
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, so we still like north of them.
Yeah.
All right,
I come through it the other day, but no.
I make a motion that we set the legislative agenda items as presented.
Second.
And that includes the possibility we may have to make a 50%
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, and that's part of my question though, just real quick on the pause. Do we have funds that we could put something else, or is that getting a little bit greedy? I'm just saying, is there something else that we can make? I mean, also we have an opportunity to get up to 50%.
Well,
match.
Alan felt like this was a really good
Okay, that's
list.
good. That's good.
He said that he felt like it was reasonable. He says if we go too much, he said that may just
Okay.
kill it.
Man, maybe they'll give us this
Didn't they-
list and then lower the percentage of
Didn't they
contribution.
say
Right.
that any request was gonna be tough to begin with, but I think the state's done a little bit better than what they thought. So
That's
there's a
right.
possibility. So
That's right.
if we get anything, we'll be lucky.
Okay. We got a motion by Commissioner Hill and second by,
So we get all of it.
did you do it?
Yeah, I did.
Commissioner Pate. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries
Thank you.
5-0.
Good job.
Thank you.
For nothing, we didn't have nothing.
Well, we were successful last year with the ambulances,
Yes,
so
we were.
we hopefully will be again this year.
Okay, Ms. Willan.
So this is a request for board appointment and approval of the commissioner to serve on Tri-County. So before y'all say Commissioner Pate,
Yeah, slow down.
I would like for y'all to just
We've already seen
hear.
the chart.
Yes. you
Okay, well
did.
then y'all have the chart. So he is a little heavy on his commitments, and I would like, if he's okay with the consideration of giving that one up.
Like I said, I've enjoyed being on the Tri-County Community Council. It's a good board to be on. Some boards can get a little shaky, but you don't have to worry about that board. That board's a good board. I would like to possibly give that one up and the J-Tran, if I could.
Okay,
Well, we've
I
got,
would like to volunteer
Which one?
for Tri-County.
So moved.
I actually thought, and that you would be a good fit for that, and Mr. Crutchfield's on it, and we got one more on there from Jackson
Okay.
County.
So
I'll offer
is that a motion? You want to make a
Yes,
motion?
I made the motion.
Is it second?
Second,
Okay,
Commissioner Donald for the second.
okay. All right, Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Donifro, with Donifro the second, to place Commissioner McKinney on the Tri-County Board. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. 5-0.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Commissioner Donifro on the J-Tran board. It's in Mariana. They don't meet every month. It's out here at Tri-County for about an hour. It's about what it is. Now, I don't know that we can do that, can we? In the middle of spring? I don't know.
probably.
Probably.
And I don't mind doing that. Again, I just know with everything that I've got to learn just coming on board on this committee, I want to be careful about taking on too much responsibility. But as you said,
No,
They were
don't dump it
I
on you
think it'd
anyway.
be good, but when we get a second, you probably ain't got no
That's right.
choice. Because that's how, that's how I got that. Me and Eric dodged some, and I kind of.
Yeah,
If you'll-
well,
If you'll refer to that list, I should.
Commissioner Pate did have an excellent idea to make this more equitable so that we don't.
And
get
I enjoy
someone
both
that-
the boards. I mean, but
yeah,
Okay.
I don't mind serving on
Yeah.
that.
So we got a motion by Commissioner Pate and a second by Commissioner Hill to place Commissioner Donifro on J-Trans board. Any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0.
just to let you know,
You are on it.
yes, just to let you know, now you are the chairman
No.
of J-Tran. That's how they did it to me. But now there is two boards.
You can thank us
David Melvin,
later.
There's two boards. I don't know how that works, but that's what happened to me. When
We
I
will
showed
check
up,
to ensure that, make sure this is okay to do it.
Ask
Yeah.
staff to go with you on that transitional period. That really works well.
Okay.
yeah.
Item number
And if you'd have been absent, you'd have got 3 or 4.
29. Okay, we pulled that one, didn't we?
Yes. Oh, no. 29 was the one that we just done.
No, 29 is Appalachia Regional Planning Council. We pulled that. Right, Ms. Daniels?
That's right.
Which one?
29 is
29.
Tri-County Community Council, Jim Peacock.
Oh, yeah, the
Addendum
ARPC was
to
on an
addendum.
addition.
Oh, they changed it when they put it on there.
Yes,
My
there
bad.
was something with the numbering.
Oh,
You're
okay.
right, ARPC was pulled.
Oh, okay. So be it. You're right.
So what number we on is all I want to know.
All right, we're on number 30
On
on
the
the
addition.
change. And that is Mr. Hunter Potts.
Right, so this item is to request a board approval to adopt the Rural Economic Development Innovation, it's the READY plan. It's what we met on, had public comments on last month. So we took some of those public comments and input those into the plan, and so we're just asking you to formally adopt it here at this board meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hill,
Second.
second by Commissioner Pate. Any comments? Okay, everybody's had a chance to read it, right?
I believe so.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign, carries 5-0. You skated on that one, Hunter.
Okay. Next item, item 31, is to request board approval of the change order and certificate of final completion for a Citizens Lodge roof repair. This is to pay the final pay application and the change order, and also to close up the project with pay the retainage amount. So you see in front of you there the change order in the total amount of $22,254.31. The majority of that cost comes from the truss work that had to be done. That was undiscovered damages as a result, because you couldn't see it before when they did the initial inspection. So pretty much what it comes down to is about $37,000, I think, is the approximate cost to the county, which we're going to be able to pay out of small project underruns through FEMA small projects.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner McKinney. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Next item, item 32, is request the board approval to reject bids for RFP 19-2033 fiber optic communication line. This is one that we had already rejected before a couple months ago, but we put it out to bid again, and the low cost was $86,000. So what we did was we did alternate bids for either the hazard mitigation underground or back to how it was pre-storm. So the cost of the county would be approximately $50,000 or more, and they're spending $1,700 to rent a line. So it's just really not cost effective for us to do this project. So we're asking.
Is that the one from the jail?
Yes, to the courthouse, to the
So
jail.
moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Pate and a second by Commissioner McKinney. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Carries 5-0. All right,
All right, last item I have is to request board approval of change order, certificate of final completion, and final pay app for RFP 161708 courthouse renovations. This is finally coming to a close. So the final payment will be in the amount of $134,761.48. And I spoke to Danielle this morning, got Amber to sign the final pay app, so everybody's agreed with the amounts. So
So moved.
Before we take a motion, I need to state that I'm conflicted on this issue. We're the architect working for Ajax on this, so I will need to recuse myself from voting.
okay, very good. Now, is that money from the funding that was already available?
yes.
Okay. All right, got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Pate. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Donna Fro.
4-0.
4-0. With him recusing himself.
If I could just say really quickly that, thank you, Hunter, for the READY plan. He picked that up and got that across the finish line. And if y'all can't tell from the agenda and additions, Hunter has been very busy. And so thank you, Hunter, for your hard work.
Okay, that takes care of the changes, right? All right.
That's right.
Let me find my paper here. Public hearing. Now we're going into a public hearing. Ms. Wendy.
Thank you, Commissioner. Per Florida statute, Jackson County is required to review the capital improvement element of the Jackson County Comprehensive Plan on an annual basis. Modifications to update the 5-year capital improvement schedule may be accomplished by ordinance and may not be deemed to be amendments to the local comprehensive plan. And we have that attached for your review and would like for a motion to approve the ordinance to adopt the capital improvement element and authorize the chairman to sign.
Okay, are there any comments from the public or anyone here? Fred, you have any comments? You're free.
If we have any members of the public that has any comment on this, they can raise their hand on Zoom via the raise hand feature or *9 via telephone.
You have any?
At this point, I see no hands raised.
All right, we're going out of the public hearing. And what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we adopt by ordinance the Jackson County Comprehensive Plan Capital Improvement Element 5-year schedule update.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Pate, a second by Commissioner Hill. Any discussion?
Commissioner, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think I need to read the title of the ordinance.
Go right ahead, because we're moving.
Do you need to be in the public hearing to read the title? or not?
Yes.
I thought she gave it.
I had not read the
You ain't
title.
gotta read it by title. Just go back to the public hearing. At the end of this one.
Okay, we're back in public hearing for Ms. Wendy to read the title.
The title is an ordinance of Jackson County, Florida, adopting the capital improvement element of the 5-year capital improvement project update pursuant to the Local Government Comprehensive Planning and Land Development Regulation Act, Chapter 163, Florida statutes, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Fred, do you have any hands up?
No, sir. No hands up.
All right, we're out of public session now. We're back to the motion. Okay.
I move to grab, you got it.
Commissioner
You
Pate
got it.
made the motion. Commissioner Hill, second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay. Community development. Ms. Wendy?
Yes, sir. The first item is that the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee met monthly beginning July through November of this year to provide an updated incentive report and recommendations for the SHIP program 2021 through 2024 Local Housing Assistance Plan, and this shall be adopted by resolution. I had listed on the agenda item, aside from text edits, the major changes that are recommended, and that is to bring in the purchase of new manufactured homes under purchase assistance and demolition and reconstruction strategies, and to do exterior rehab work on manufactured homes. And then also under the rehabilitation strategy, they recommended to increase the terms of the 5-year loan amount from $10,000 to $14,999.99 or below, and for participants over 62 years of age at the time the application was approved, and then for the 10-year terms of the loan to increase from $10,001 to $15,000 or above. In addition to this, we would like to mirror the current LHAP to read the same.
Okay. Any comments? I have one,
Yes, sir.
and it's for the new commissioners. Your names will be put on the front of this document. We got the old commissioners' names on there, and I happened to catch that. No. Any comments? Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Grant the request.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Pate. Is there a second? And a second from Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right.
Thank you. And to mirror that, the next item, we have the Hurricane Housing Recovery Program. And that program is to replace damaged homes from Hurricane Michael with modular or stick-built homes. And we would like to add in new manufactured homes as well.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second by Commissioner McKinney? Wendy, is that the one where you have the starting price at like 175?
175,000 is the maximum award amount, but that also includes demolition.
Oh, it includes demolition?
Yes, sir.
Because I thought most houses around here now were like 125, 140,000.
Yes, sir. So the $175,000 is for a family of 1 to 4, 5 and above is at $195,000 to purchase a larger home. But as stated, that includes an award amount to take care of any demolition, taking the debris away.
I'd like to say that AHAG group it's been great to be on that. They are very intuitive and they are very concerning for the citizens. That has been a great board to serve on. This getting this in is very important. It opens up more avenues for us.
And I want to thank you for your contributions and participating in that because you had great comments. And just to let you know, our technical advisor with the Florida Housing Coalition, Michael Cheney, said that we are the first county that he knows of that has our elected official on our committee. So thank
Okay.
you.
Good work.
All right.
We have been the first.
We tricked him on that one. though.
Yeah, well, I think we did.
We put him on it.
Yeah, that's the reason I was first, because they stepped back.
Exactly.
All right.
No,
But he did
board.
good.
Did you make the motion?
Oh,
I
I
did.
don't know.
No.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign.
Thank you
5-0.
so much.
All right. You got the next one too.
Yes, sir. So a public hearing was supposed to be held today, but we're asking to reschedule the abatement case for the blighted property that's in violation of county code, and to move it to January 12th, 2021 at 9:15 a.m.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Pate. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
There won't be any more delay on that after that, though, correct?
I
Uh-oh.
hope not. I
You're in
can
trouble.
answer that question.
5-0.
Okay, no. There was some,
Hill and Pate.
Not on our side.
They were unforeseen.
oh, yeah,
sir.
I thought we might just.
Okay.
Well, but you.
Thank you all.
Okay, I don't think we have anyone from the public in here. Fred, ask if the public has any comments they want to make.
We have no members of the public in the attendees list.
Okay, very good. Let's do a round table, starting, our table got squared off with Michelle.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Willann?
Yes, just to remind, we have to deal with the special meeting, finishing that. And then also wanted to say congratulations to District 1 and 2 on the Graceville Fire Station being relocated, or the Campbellton Station being relocated to Graceville. And we had a successful ribbon cutting last week, and so I think that's going to be good. And of course, y'all may want to say more about that when it gets to you. Also, on the autism, I didn't want to take time during that presentation to just say that something that Denise has really been teaching us, and of course we worked very closely with her, is that this is a totally new way of thinking about autism, and it's moving from them to us. And so recognizing that every one of us just about have a family member that has autism or is connected in some way. It's so prevalent today that we would, just like for our family members, we don't want them to think of being institutionalized or as them or, you know, that sort of thing. And so I've watched Denise very eloquently a couple of times sort of correct us as we've gone through the process to be very mindful of our language and the way we refer to them, and to try to start referring to them as us, because the truth is they're our children, they're our brothers, they're our sisters, they're our nieces, our nephews. And so really more is just to share with y'all something I've learned about that. And as you all have interactions and conversations, being aware that that's really where we're trying to go with this, is making it a part of our community and an extension of our family. And so I'm really excited about it and glad that I've been able to join Commissioner Peacock on the journey. It's been really good. So that's all I have.
Commissioner Donifro.
I have nothing.
Hill.
I'll
You
say mine
hungry?
till later. I'm hungry. Okay.
Commissioner Pate.
I'd just like to thank the people that was involved in moving the fire station. It's been a long journey on that. We've had some bumps and bruises and all that, but I want to thank Chief Bruner for finally, no, it didn't take him long, but he pursued it and made it happen. Dr. Kitchen from the Baptist College, Willan, and the county maintenance to pulling it off. So now we have the fire station in Graceville where we feel like it's more needed. Not that Hamilton is not, but it's the same distance from Hamilton that it is to Graceville. So thank you. I have nothing else.
Commissioner McKinney.
Okay, I would like to say, to the board, thank you for allowing me to serve, and it's been a very productive meeting this morning. Also, on Forster Fire Station, I had one of my constituents to ask me about what's the plans on, demolishing or getting rid of the excess equipment, Forster trailer and everything there.
It's surplus. That'd be
Yeah, there is
surplus,
no
so-
plan at this point. It just needs to be addressed.
Okay, we do have some interest out there, people want to buy it, you know.
Okay.
Just keep aboard the rest of that. And also just like to wish everyone here a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, we still got another meeting after this, too.
All right,
sure do, we
well,
do.
Zoom as well.
What now?
But he's on Zoom now. too.
Oh, he's
okay.
There, too.
Clay, you have anything? Okay. I would just like to say that I did say a little about the Autism Center. I'm not going to take up a lot of time right now, but this is something that I've been working on since before I was elected. The idea actually came from Judge Hatcher. But, you know, it's good to see it. We've come this far. It's moving forward, and there's a lot to be done out there. And I think it can be very good for our county. We have to finish our special meeting, don't we, Ms. Daniels?
You do, but you can break and if you want to go to lunch.
Y'all want to finish it, or you want to go eat?
Lunch.
Everybody, all right? So anyone else? I mean, he's one, there's 4 others.
I'm ready for lunch. I know what.
I'm good either way.
Okay.
All right,
I thought
so
I-
you want to do lunch? Be
Go
back
around
at, it's
me.
12:30, be back at 1:45,
1:30.
1:45, 1:30. I don't think you can do an hour if you go
Now.
out,
You can.
get something to eat. It's going to be difficult.
That's fine. 1:40.
1:40, 1:45, we'll be here.
So let's just
Adjourn.
1:45. Is that
Yeah.
good?
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
What's the estimated time?